Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is the revival of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee playing at New World Stages. Now, before I get into this delightful show, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, and I really appreciate it. All right, so what did I know about this show going in? Well, quite a lot, actually. Possibly more than is good for an objective review. But I am very familiar with the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee because I was working at Circle in the Square when this musical transferred from Off-Broadway to Broadway back in 2005. I've seen the show many, many times, which is precisely why I was late to the party for this revival. My usual approach with off-Broadway shows is to request press tickets, and I wasn't able to get this one, and part of me thought, well, I already know this show inside and out. Do I really need to see it again? But then the notices started coming in, and they were raves, and Jasmine Amy Rogers is in it, and I saw her in Boop, and I saw her in Wild Party, and I want to see her in this. So finally I said to myself, this show is not going to be open much longer. Let's just go buy a ticket and see it. So I did, went with a friend, and you know what? I'm very glad I did. So this review will involve comparisons to the original Broadway production. I can't help it. If that bothers you, then this may not be the review for you, but I will try to be fair. Let's start with a little history, because this show has a really fascinating origin story. The 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee did not begin as a musical. It began as an improv piece called Crepuscule, and yes, you have to spell it out. Created by Rebecca Feldman and performed by The Farm, a New York-based improvisational comedy troupe. Now, Sarah Salzberg, who would go on to be a key part of the musical's development, was in the original improv piece, and she played one of the roles on Broadway. Now, the playwright Wendy Wasserstein saw it and recommended it to composer lyricist William Finn. Finn was captivated by the piece. He brought in book writer Rachel Sheinkin, and together they worked with Feldman to transform that improv show into a fully scripted musical. The show was developed at the Barrington Stage Company in Massachusetts, first in a workshop in February 2004, then a fuller production that summer. It moved to Off-Broadway and became a sensation before transferring to Broadway, where it opened at Circle in the Square on April 15, 2005. It ran for a remarkable 1,136 performances, closing in January 2008. Along the way, it won Tony Awards for Best Book of a Musical for Rachel Sheinkin, who absolutely deserved it, and Best Feature Actor in a Musical for Dan Fogler, who was simply unforgettable as William Barfee, and who won basically every award imaginable for this performance. Now, 20 years later, it's back. The revival first appeared at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. in October 2024 to enormous acclaim. That production then transferred to New World Stages Off-Broadway, where it opened on November 17, 2025. The show has been extended multiple times since it opened, which tells you everything you need to know about how well this show is being received. So what is the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee about? The premise is wonderfully simple. 6 young spellers have come to compete in a spelling bee. Overseeing the competition are 2 adjudicators, Vice Principal Douglas Panch and former bee champion Rona Lisa Peretti, and Mitch Mahoney, the comfort counselor, whose job is to hand eliminated contestants a juice box and escort them off the stage with something between a hug and a firm escort out the door. What makes the show unique is that it also uses 4 actual audience members as additional contestants, so there's a genuine interactive improvisational quality to every performance. You never quite know what is going to happen when a real person steps onto the stage with these actors. So the show follows the spelling bee from start to finish, but what it's really about is the inner lives of these kids. As each child gets eliminated, we peek inside their world, their family dynamics, the pressures that are placed on them, their private dreams, their sorrows, and all of this emotional baggage that they are carrying into the gym. So let's talk about some positives first. Rachel Sheinkin's book is such a great book. It's one of my favorite books for a musical. It's smart, it's funny, it's deeply human, and it accomplishes something genuinely difficult. 6 distinct characters, each broadly drawn, but also completely truthful, each with a fully realized arc, and all in one act with no intermission. And I have to say, when the contestants ask for definitions for the words, the definitions are really, really funny and have some of the sharpest jokes in the show. Critics across the board have praised this revival for reminding us what a gem this material is, and they're absolutely right. So now let me talk about the cast, because there are some real highlights here. Lilli Cooper as Rona Lisa Peretti opens the show, and within 30 seconds, I knew we were in very good hands. She is pitch perfect. Her timing, her tone, her singing, her ad-libs with the audience members. She essentially picks up the whole show and puts it in her pocket, and we go on the journey with her. And I'm not going to even say the name of the actress who originated this role on Broadway, not because she was bad, she was amazing, but Lilli Cooper completely erased her from my memory, and that is the highest compliment I can pay. Next, I have Jasmine Amy Rogers as Olive Ostrovsky. She is heartbreaking, she's luminous. I've seen her in Boop, in The Wild Party, and now in this, and each character is wildly different from the other, and it speaks to her extraordinary range as an actor. And for me, comparing her to Celia Keenan Bolger in the original original Broadway production, is really apples and oranges. They were both great, and as far as I'm concerned, Jasmine is 3 for 3. She's been great in all the last 3 shows I've seen. Felipe Arroyo is solid and grounded as Chip Tolentino. Leanna Ray Concepcion as Marcy Park is wonderful. I believe she's playing the piano live on stage, which is a great touch. And Autumn Best as Logan Schwarzengrubenier is very good, though for me, Sarah Salzberg, who helped create that character from the very beginning, set a bar that is really difficult to measure up to. And Jason Kravitz as Vice Principal Pants is exactly what that role needs. He's dry, he's funny, completely committed. Loved him in this role, and he also made me not think about whoever I saw on Broadway. The set design is by Teresa L. Williams, and it perfectly captures the world of a school gymnasium. And I love that the orchestra was placed above the stage in what would be like a bleacher space in a gym. I thought that looked great. Yeah. So, some negatives. My ongoing issue with this show, and it has always been my issue, is the score. William Finn is a composer I really admire. His work on the Falsettos, Falsetto Land, that trilogy, and his work on the autobiographical A New Brain, shows that he is a songwriter of incredible power and originality. But his score for Spelling Bee has never quite matched the level of the book. And it's my belief that in a musical, the songs should carry most of the humor and not the book, but it's the reverse in this show. The book is definitely stronger than the score. And part of the problem here is Finn's lyrical tendencies. He seems to write in a stream of consciousness style that can sometimes feel like it's a first draft that's never really been refined. And also the hooks for a lot of these songs are a little bit difficult, like I speak 6 languages or my unfortunate erection, and they don't always sing so well. Also, his use of internal rhymes, he often will kind of close off a rhyme very early on in a song. He'll say like, I'm not that smart, it breaks my heart, and then go on la 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 la, and then he doesn't need to rhyme. And as a songwriter, I like when songs create a tension between a rhyme and then we go a long ways, and then we come back to that rhyme, and then we're surprised by the rhyme, and it really makes it land. And I feel like he doesn't do that a lot in some of these songs. He does do it occasionally, which is great. My Unfortunate Erection is a song that should absolutely kill, and yet I always watch the actors who have played it, and I always feel like they're working really hard to get the song across and make it to the finish line. That said, when Finn gets it right, he really gets it right. I love the I Love You song. It's gorgeous. The imagery in all of his material is beautiful and heartbreaking, and that's Finn at his absolute best. He's really good at writing a heartfelt ballad. In terms of staging, the New World stage's space is simply more limited than the circle in the square was. The original Broadway production had a theater in the round configuration. It was really more of a 3/4. But it genuinely felt like a gym, and we were sitting in the bleachers on either side. And the director was able to move the bodies 3-dimensionally, James Lapine, who's a great director. But here on the stage at New World Stages, it feels like it's kind of flattening it out. The show is directed and choreographed by Danny Mefford. And the difference between the shows I felt the most was in the dream sequence between Olive and Barfee, or William. And that is the moment in the original, which was so transcendent and so sweet and so funny. But here it didn't take flight because I just felt like he didn't have the space. And so everything was choreographed very flatly, moving from side to side. And that was such a memorable moment in the original Broadway production. Justin Cooley as Leaf Coneybear is funny. He gets the laughs, but there were moments where I felt like I was watching an actor commenting on the character's weirdness rather than really living inside it and making it believable. Jesse Tyler Ferguson's original performance was so fully inhabited that the strangeness felt truthful and inevitable, almost natural. Cooley doesn't quite reach that level. And also the absence of the finger puppet moment in I'm Not That Smart genuinely confused me because that moment gave the song's most surreal passage a visual anchor. And without it, the song feels odd in a way that doesn't quite land. And what I'm referring to is, again, this is William Finn writing difficult songs and feeling a little lazy in that he sometimes has this characters just sing la 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 blah, 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 in this weird voice. And Jesse Tyler brought out a finger puppet and it just made sense there. Here the character doesn't have a puppet or anything and he's just kind of going crazy for a second, and it felt a bit much for me. The night I attended, Kevin McHale, who played the role in DC, was out as William Barfee, and the role was played by Brandon L. Armstrong. Now, Armstrong was good, but in my mind, Dan Fogler so completely defined this character, originating it both in the workshop and on Broadway and winning virtually every award available for it, that anyone playing Barfee is going to have to decide whether they imitate his performance or try to go in a different direction. Now, Armstrong seems to be working from a similar template as Fogler, which is understandable. But it meant that I was watching a very good impression of something extraordinary rather than something new. And I'm genuinely curious how Kevin McHale approaches it. If you've seen him, let me know in the comments. Now, that's not to say that Brandon L. Armstrong didn't do a tremendous job. It's so hard to erase Dan Fogler from my memory. Finally, we have Mitch Mahoney. Matt Manuel plays him, and he's physically imposing. He's likable in the role, but they have changed his backstory for this revival. In the original, Mitch was doing community service. He was essentially some kind of ex-con whose punishment was comforting children, and the juxtaposition of that was hilarious and unexpectedly moving. In this production, he's someone whose gym shut down during the pandemic. And I understand that it's problematic to have an actor of color playing a criminal, but I find one way around that is by casting other actors of color who are playing different types of characters so that it doesn't become a monolith and it becomes like, oh, a spectrum. Or a very simple solution is just not to have a person of color play that role if you think it's leaning into stereotypes. I don't know. I just thought the original conception of the character was much funnier. And that moment when Logan hugs him is so powerful. And it was still emotional here, but it lacked a little bit of the power that it had when I saw it on Broadway. Also, a note, Chip Tolentino is no longer wearing a Boy Scout uniform. And I don't know why. I missed it. Have the Boy Scouts of America been canceled? All right, so was I bored? Was I confused? Was I bored? Not even a little. This show runs without an intermission and it moves like a dream. Rachel Sheinkin's book does not waste a single moment. It's a perfect book. It's pretty great. So was I confused? Just a little by the Mitch Mahoney backstory change. I still don't fully understand that decision. But everything else, the acting, the direction, the design was crystal clear. This is a beautifully told show. So let me wrap this up. Here's where I land. This is a very good production of a show that I love. Critics have been really enthusiastic. I think it's got like 96 audience approval rating on ShowScore, which is really remarkable. And review after review have called it joyful, heartfelt, and exactly the kind of show that the world needs right now. And I don't disagree with any of that. What I will say is that if you saw the original Broadway production, if you were there at Circle in the Square, if you remember that company and James Lapine's direction, this probably won't erase those memories. But nor should it. I think the measure of a revival isn't whether it replaces the original, it's whether it does the material justice, and this one absolutely does. It has earned its extended run and then some, and I hope it continues to extend because it is really a delightful show, and I love seeing the show off Broadway. it feels like a good place for it. So why should you see this show? A few reasons. First, Rachel Sheinkin's book is one of the best examples of musical theater writing I know. Modern day musical theater writing. Every character complete, every arc satisfying, every joke earned. If you care about the craft in musical theater, this is an educational show to watch. Second, Lilli Cooper and Jasmine Amy Rogers. Separately, they're tremendous. Together, they anchor this production in something real and moving. Loved both of them. Third, it's one act and it moves like a dream and it will make you laugh and then unexpectedly break your heart a little. Sometimes within a minute of each other. And that is a rare thing, and this show does it really well. So, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee is back in New York for the first time in 20 years. Don't wait as long as I did. Go check it out. How did I get tickets? And where did I sit? I got my tickets through Today Tix. I get a 10% discount because I buy enough tickets on there. So I just paid $54 for each seat. And I sat on the right side in the third row of the mezzanine, which in this intimate theater is still very close to the stage. New World Stage 3 is a small house and the mezzanine is only 4 or 5 rows deep, so there really isn't a bad seat in the place, with one caveat. If you're in the very back rows of the mezzanine, you might have trouble seeing Chip Tolentino when he comes down into the audience to sing Chip's Lament. Just something to keep in mind. I was fine in the third row, but I could see how if I was a little further back, it might be a problem. Okay, so if you want to get cheap tickets, I mean, 54 is already pretty cheap, but if you want to go a little bit cheaper, you can go on Telecharge, which has rush tickets for $49, and you'll probably be in the orchestra if you get those. So save $5 that way. All right, thank you so much for watching. The next review coming up is Well, I'll Let You Go, which I'm seeing in just a matter of hours, and I hope to get that review out in the next day or two because I think the show is already opened. Yeah. So look out for that. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you then.
Don't wanna drift away,
Wanna stay inside the play.
keep me engaged, keep me amused with what's in front of me, 'cause I don't wanna be bored and confused.